General Vexthor stood at his full height of 9 feet, his crystalline exoskeleton gleaming under the harsh lights of the command deck. Around him, officers from a dozen species maintained a respectful distance, their attention fixed on tactical displays that showed the crumbling front lines of the Galactic Defense Coalition. They were losing this war, and everyone knew it. The human stood before him, barely reaching his chest plate. Lieutenant Sarah Chen, fresh from Earth, that infamous Class 15 Deathworld that the Galactic Council had initially refused to believe could harbor intelligent life. Her uniform was crisp, her posture military perfect, but there was something in her eyes that made Vexthor's thermal sensors flicker with unease. "You question my orders, human?" Vexthor's voice reverberated through the deck, a bass rumble that had sent lesser species scrambling for cover. Sarah's response was calm, measured. "Sir, I'm suggesting an alternative strategy that would save 3,000 lives and secure the supply route. The frontal assault you've ordered is—" The slap came without warning. Vexthor's armored hand swept across her face with enough force to shatter Dendari bone, to rupture Klaxian organs. The crack echoed through the sudden silence of the command deck. Officers froze at their stations. A Virillian tactical analyst's antennae went rigid with shock. Sarah's head snapped to the side. She stumbled back half a step, her cheek already darkening with what would become a spectacular bruise. For a moment she simply stood there, one hand rising slowly to touch her face. Then she straightened. "My apologies, General," she said quietly, her voice steady despite the blood trickling from her split lip. "I should have struck back harder." The command deck went deathly silent. Vexthor's optical sensors dilated in confusion. "What did you say?" Sarah met his gaze directly, and Vexthor finally recognized what he'd seen in her eyes. It wasn't fear or subordination. It was restraint. Painful, conscious restraint. "On Earth, sir, when someone strikes you, custom dictates an appropriate response." Her smile was sharp and terrible. "I apologize for my weakness. I forgot where I was and instinctively held back. It won't happen again." A Centaurian lieutenant at the weapons console made a sound like escaping air. He'd served with humans before. He knew what was coming. "You dare threaten a superior officer?" Vexthor's crest flared, flooding the deck with aggressive pheromones that would have sent most species into submission. Sarah didn't even blink. "Threaten? No, sir. I'm explaining a cultural misunderstanding. You see, Earth, Class 15. Deathworld, as you're aware, has certain evolutionary pressures. 2 gravity environment, megafauna predators, viral loads that can overwhelm most immune systems, weather patterns that shift from killing heat to killing cold in hours, tectonically active geology, atmospheric oxygen levels that are literally toxic to most species." She took a step forward. Vexthor, despite himself, took a step back. "We evolved in that, General. Every day. For millions of years. Do you know what it takes to survive in an environment that's actively trying to kill you? To become the apex predator of a world where everything is an apex predator?" Her voice remained conversational, almost friendly. "It requires certain adaptations." The medical officer, a delicate Sylphian whose species had evolved on a paradise world of gentle rains and abundant fruit, was frantically pulling up human physiological data on his tablet. His face went pale as new information scrolled past. "Humans have the highest pain tolerance of any sapient species in the Coalition," Sarah continued. "Our fight-or-flight response doesn't shut down our higher reasoning. It enhances it. We have a redundant cardiovascular system. We can run for days without stopping. We can survive injuries that would kill most species outright. And General," her smile widened, showing too many teeth, "we are one of only 3 sapient species in the known galaxy that evolved as pursuit predators." Vexthor's thermal sensors were now screaming warnings. Sarah's body temperature was rising, her musculature flooding with compounds his sensors couldn't identify. Adrenaline, someone would later explain. Cortisol, norepinephrine, the chemical cocktail of human aggression. "I held back, sir, because I remembered I wasn't on Earth anymore. I remembered that most species in the coalition have never had to fight for their lives against their own planet. I remembered that you're not built like I am. She gestured at her own frame. This body, it's designed for endurance, for taking damage and continuing. Earth didn't give us armor or natural weapons. It made us too stubborn to die. The Centaurian lieutenant was slowly backing away from his console. He'd seen humans in combat. He'd watched a human Marine continue fighting with injuries that should have been instantly fatal, held together by nothing but medical gel and absolute refusal to stop. So when you struck me, General, every instinct I have, instincts carved into my DNA by a world that makes your worst nightmares look like a vacation resort, those instincts said to strike back, hard enough to ensure the threat never tries again. Sarah's hand was still touching her cheek, but her posture remained relaxed, almost casual. That, more than anything, terrified Vex Thor. But I'm not just a product of Earth. I'm also a coalition officer, so I held back. And for that failure of discipline, I apologize. The command deck remained frozen. No one moved. No one spoke. Finally, Vex Thor found his voice. Lieutenant Chen, your alternative strategy. Explain it. In detail. Sarah's expression shifted, the predator receding behind the professional soldier. Yes, sir. As she moved to the tactical display, officers parted before her like water. The Sylphian medical officer caught Vexithor's attention and tilted his tablet screen. The data was terrifying. Human bone density, muscle efficiency, healing rates, pain tolerance thresholds. And there at the bottom, a notation in red. Note: all measurements taken represent average baseline human capabilities. Measurements do not account for training, adrenaline response, or psychological determination factors. Vex Thor watched, the human work, explaining her strategy with calm precision, and wondered not how humanity had survived their nightmare world, but how anything else on Earth had survived humanity. He never struck another human again. None of his officers did either. The word spread quickly through the coalition military. Deathworlders don't hit back. They hit forward. And they never, ever stop.